concilio de la ciudad de Socorro está por empezar. Caballeros, favor de quitarse las cachuchas, sombreros y todos favor de poner en silencio todo el equipo electrónico. No se va a tolerar ningún tipo de comportamiento perjudicial o revoltoso. A quien no siga esas reglas se les secará y puede ser infraccionado. Gracias.
It is 6:01 p.m. This meeting is called to order. Item number 2, Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item number 3, Establishment of Quorum.
Ruben Reyes,
Here.
Cesar Nevares, Alejandro Garcia,
Here.
Mayor Ivy Avalos,
Here.
Rudy Cruz,
Present.
and Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Here.
Mayor, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Item number 4, Public Comment.
Our first speaker is Michael Abud.
Hi, thank you for allowing me to speak. First off, I find it very disturbing to hear that a member of City Council was stopped by law enforcement for DWI, and that member of City Council has not been honorable enough to step aside from his position. The politicians of our area need to be honorable and respectable people. They, instead of trying to hold themselves up above the rest of the public, they need to be leaders and people that we can respect. By having a member of the City Council drive drunk and then try and find a way to get away with it, that's not the type of political leaders that we need in our area. That shows total disrespect to his constituents. We need better leaders and better politicians, and I urge that council member to step aside so that he can deal with his issues and then at a later date come back to the public. But at this time, it's very disrespectful for that person to stay on City Council. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Sal Chagoya. Mr. Chagoya, you have 3 minutes.
Yes, good evening. I just wanted to mention a couple of things that have been or have I been seeing as this new school year has started. Our District 5 representative in SISD has been very actively involved with the Lower Valley. That was something that a place where it was being underserved. And so now we have a dual language in Hueco, and we have the STEM in Escondrias, with a newly added football field in Socorro High School. The reasons why I'm bringing this is because we are seeing somebody in action and actually working, doing something to benefit the Lower Valley. In hence, I've also noticed this entire week, including some days last week, I've been on vacation, and I've noticed that I'm seeing a lot of kids walking on Valle Cálido. And the reason why they're walking there is because there's no sidewalks on Moon Road. There's no area to walk. And so these kids are not in the 2-mile radius where they could get bused and get there. And so they're not causing any disruption. They're just trying to walk where there's at least a sidewalk. And so it's just disheartening that we continue to have these infrastructure issues. With that being said, also, Rio Vista, it's colossal out there. 40 minutes just to cross from a Walmart to get back to the Valles, that's ridiculous. With Socorro High School being out there, Idea and Sanchez, it's very impossible to get through traffic. So would like to see our electives, our District 2, do something about it. I know, Mr. Cruz, you're in the MPO. Maybe you could start bringing some funding into these areas that are much very needed in order for our kids to be able to commute to their classes, to their school. Thank you.
Guillermo Gándara. Mr. Gándara, you have 3 minutes.
Mayor, City Council, good afternoon. The reason I'm here is because everywhere I turn, there's a new subdivision coming up. This city does not have the infrastructure for any more subdivisions. Please, quit doing that. You know, I see item number 19, number 20. The only good item I see here is item 21, where it says approve a resolution of a commercial unit. That's what we need here. That's what this city needs to move forward. No more subdivisions, no more homes. We don't have the infrastructure. We just don't have it. Come on. It's going to get ugly. It's going to get ugly because it's going to, right there on North Loop, where the firehouse is. You ought to see that place. Now I went past through Alameda. There's some new subdivisions. Passmore, which is a street from there to here, one coming and one going, and there's a huge subdivision being built on this side. Come on. Let's start bringing in some businesses. We need businesses in this city. Think about it. That's all I'm asking. Just think about it. You know, before you pass these, go and take a look at this place and see exactly where they're at and see what major streets are around them. That's all I'm asking. Thank you very much for hearing me out. Thank you.
Margarita Perez. Ms. Perez, you have 3 minutes.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Just real quick, last meeting, I brought you 2019, 2020, and 2021 patches. Well, we got our 22, so I'm just here to present those two.
Marisol Moreno. Ms. Moreno, you have 3 minutes.
Good afternoon. Thank you. I'm Ms. Moreno. I was here on the last meeting. I'm just here so that you guys know who I am. I don't know if you guys, I've been talking to the mayor and to Ms. Colon and to the at-large. They've told me that they're gonna start working on that issue of the subdivision. I just wanna know if it's been done, if it's on the agenda, because they're telling me yes, no, so I wanna know what's going on with that. Right now, I brought one of the residents, and she wants to talk about what's going on in that area of the trucks. So I just want to, remind you guys that we're here. We're not like I say, we're not going to stop until something gets done. And I don't know if our District 4 is still sick or what's going on, but I never got an answer from her. Are you there?
I can't talk, Meg, but yes, I just got out of surgery.
Oh, okay. Okay, so then I guess somebody else can step up to what we're concerned on. So if you guys can let me know what's going on, I'll be expecting a call from you or from the city manager to let me know if it's on the agenda so we can start moving forward with that. I would really appreciate that. Thank you.
Jose Gonzalez. Mr. Gonzalez, you have 3 minutes.
Ok, buenas tardes. Pues la razón por la que estoy aquí es muy similar a la de la persona pasada. es porque para solicitar que se cambie la ordenanza de dar tickets pues, a las personas que tenemos nuestros trailers estacionados en la Datsun, ya que pues, están dentro de nuestro espacio y creo que no afectamos a nadie sobre la calle porque no los dejamos estacionados sobre la calle. Aparte de que pues, es nuestro negocio y es nuestra forma de vida y pues ahorita con los altos precios de diésel, de reparaciones y demás, todavía no nos podemos dar el lujo de pagar una yarda extra donde estacionar nuestros camiones. Entonces, pues bueno, esa es la única razón y la única petición que tengo hoy para ustedes. Gracias.
Héctor Ramos. Albert Ortiz.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor and City Council. My name is Albert Ortiz. I'm here to discuss lights on Patty Joe and Horizon, traffic lights. I have signatures here. I got quite a bit of businesses there, and everybody's been, they're tired of, the traffic. It's so heavy there. A lot of them can't get out. Also, now with the median that they put up, it makes it even harder to make a left turn. I talked to TxDOT. They said they had done a survey back in 2019. Everything looked normal. I go, 3 years ago. Come on, there's a lot more people now. So he said, well, you need to talk now to, as far as we go, that's all we can do. You need to talk to City Council and your police department about putting a traffic light. Let them get some input in it. I'm like, come on. There's been accidents there at that corner, and now with the media, you can't make a left turn, perfectly. We already had a major accident there a couple of weeks ago. So that's basically what I wanted to know, if you all can maybe start looking into possible traffic light right there, make a study. Also, one more thing before, the lights on Rio Vista, right past the railroad tracks, it's really dark there at night, and with the school there, Sanchez Middle, or not, well, that's Sanchez Middle, it's pretty dark down there in the street light, the street, street stripes. The striping is also gone. That's another one, that's, for safety. And other than that, well, Ms. Villalobos, God grant you good health, okay? Okay, and that's all. Thank you all. Thank you, sir.
Miriam Cruz. Ms. Cruz, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you, Ms. Navarro. Yes, thank you. I only was going to say one thing, but now I have to say a couple of things. I want to applaud Ms. Colombia Lobos for being present, even throughout some of her medical ailments. And I will, and I also wish her, good health and a speedy recovery. I will say, though, that I find it disingenuous for city council members to point at her when one of the constituents is asking, that she hasn't heard from her. You all represent us. And all of these individuals today and in previous meetings have brought up items they should all be followed up with. It's not on Ms. Colombia Lobos alone. We have an at-large, we have a mayor, we have a city manager, and I as well am interested to know what, if anything, are the plans to reply or respond to these individuals. Why aren't there agenda items on there? Why are you guys too afraid to tell the gentleman, el señor que quiere estacionar su trailer, that you all voted for that? Because you don't want, and we don't want, a lot of people don't want trailers going through roads for roads that are not equipped to handle those trailers. Why can't you guys respond to him? Why can't you put an agenda item? It's very unclear to me. Why do they have to keep coming in order just to try and get a response? Anyway, I will say now what I actually signed up to say. There is a proposed tax rate, and the amount of money that we pay to the city as taxpayers is actually going up, even though the tax rate is decreasing. That is because the city did not opt for the new revenue tax rate, for the no new revenue tax rate that would have been a few cents lower than the one that is being proposed. So I have a question, and I hope this gets answered during the tax rate, either public comment or agenda item. I want to know what the city has budgeted for, what are the top 3 things the city budgeted for to use the proposed new revenue that will be coming out of our taxes for the new year? That's what I would like to know. And I think the whole city and constituents would like to know. Thank you.
Javier Paz. Mr. Paz, you have 3 minutes.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, and residents of Socorro. My name is Javier Paz. I'm Senior Policy Advisor for Commissioner Ileana Holguin, Precinct 3. I'm here to invite the community to a Socorro regional meeting. I had been here to invite you to a previous one that was going to be located in Fabens, Horizon, and Isleta, but due to the request from Mr. Cruz that we have one specifically for Socorro, we went ahead and went back and asked UMC to go ahead and do that, and they went ahead and approved this date for August 30th, and so it will be now locally here. And it's about the UMC bond proposal that many of you know is going to do 2 main things. One, it will come with a comprehensive cancer center. That is probably the biggest part of what the project will come with, along with capacity issues is what the hospital is going to provide. They can go over all the many things that they're going to want to provide, but it will cost about $56 per $100,000 of property value. So that's kind of like the big picture of the bond. If you have questions about the details, that's what the meeting is for. So we invite you to go and ask your questions and get them answered. So if you have any questions, please reach our office at Commissioner Ileana Holguin's office, and we can answer your details there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jesse Montelongo.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity to speak. Thank you, Mayor, City Council, Police Department. I just want to say that I'm a little bit disappointed in the lack of transparency and cooperation between the board members, all of you. We're not supposed to be fighting with each other, you guys. You guys are still, I've been going to meetings for 7 years, and you guys are still fighting with each other. You guys need to be united. One domino falls, we all fall. We need to be united. We need to support each other, and we need to be a team. One team, one fight. And we all need to set the bar up higher, and we all need to, and Mrs. Villalobos, you have helped me in the past. When TxDOT came in here and covered up my neighbor's manhole, and you put a work order in, and you took care of it in 2 days. And it took him a year that he's been complaining and couldn't get it done. So I commend you for that. And I know I can't get a hold of everybody. It's very hard for people to answer the phone because they have their personal job, medical situations. I got 2 surgeries tomorrow, and I had one on Tuesday, but I'm always here for Socorro, and I'm always here for each and every one of you. I have no animosity towards anybody. We all learn, and some of us don't, but I'm here for each and every one of you. And I would like for you all also to take a look at TxDOT. All those curbs, even Fred Wilson and Dyer, they're no safety yellow. You can't see them at night. They're breaking apart. It looks like a 5-year-old made those things. Sometimes the lowest bid isn't the best bid. So please take a look at that. We need an inspector in Socorro to go and check what TxDOT is doing, because TxDOT's going to sign up on it. And it's nice that they're helping us, but you know what? It's substandard work. But please, guys, stop fighting with each other. You're there because of us. We hired you to help us. You're there for the people, by the people. You guys didn't hire each other. Remember that. Don't get complacent. I'm here for everybody there, and I care about my city, and I love this city. And pretty much, I really don't want to speak about anything else, but I just want to see more transparency, and I want to be accessibility. I can't even access individuals because they're too busy to talk to me, but yet I see other individuals walk into the office and do walk-ins. but people don't want to talk to me. I'm not there, I'm not a troublemaker. I'm a good person. It's just like a lot of you guys are good people too. But you know what? We need to raise the standard and show a better example and work together instead of fighting amongst each other. We need to stop rumors and we need to start working together as a team. That's why we all voted for all of you up there. Please help us, please, and please, please, please enforce the burning policy and there's a lot of illegal burning going on and people don't get cited and they keep doing it.
Thank you. Mayor, those were all our speakers.
Thank you. Yes, sir, Mr. Garcia?
I'd like to make a motion to move to executive session at this time.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Ruben Reyes,
Yes.
Cesar Nevares.
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz.
Yes.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
It's 6:21. We move into executive.
Muted.
Unmuted.
This meeting is called to order. We are now in regular session. It is 7:10 PM. Moving on to presentations. Item number 5, presentation by City Manager regarding July 2022 monthly report.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I don't know if you want to address item 29 since we just came out of executive before we go to the presentation. Okay.
Item number 29, discussion and action and consultation with legal counsel relating to personnel matter involving city council representatives 551.071 and 551.074.
Motion to lead 26 through 28. Second.
Ruben Reyes,
Yes.
Cesar Nevares,
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia,
Aye.
Rudy Cruz,
Yes.
and Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Number 29, Mayor.
Item 29, discussion and action and consultation with legal counsel relating to personnel matter involving city council representatives.
Are we going to do presentation or?
No action on this item?
They've already deleted, I think they deleted the item, correct? Yes.
No.
It
Oh.
must be.
Oh, delete number 29 as well?
I don't know what council wishes to do.
So we have deleted
Do we have a
26
motion?
through 28.
Right.
We're now on number 29.
Do we have a motion?
Okay. We can go on to number 5.
Okay, so there is no motion. We're moving on to item number 5, presentation. Right, there's no action to this item.
The item dies for lack of a motion. Mayor, the next item, as I understand it, in terms of the resequencing, would be number 5.
Number 5. Presentations. Item number 5, presentation by City Manager regarding July 2022 monthly report.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I am here to give you the highlights for July 2022. Our Municipal Courts Department in July collected $52,631, received 203 citations from Socorro PD, 12 citations from Department of Public Safety, 75 animal control, and 62 ordinance violations. Our Human Resources Department did not have a civil service due to lack of quorum. We had 5 separations from Public Works and 1 from PD. 3 new hires, Deputy Chiefs Jason Stancioni, Labor Pedro Cruz, and Animal Control Officer Adam Nevares. Our Parks and Public Works Department assisted with the 4th of July and Movies Under the Stars. They did the Gem Valley Pond Sinkhole Project, continue to work on the onion field culverts for monsoon season, repaired sinkhole at Dinny Rossi, and continue with a systematic approach for weed control and maintenance for all parks. The Police Department received 2,415 calls for service, made 121 arrests, issued 232 citations. They completed the Citizens Academy on July 13. Officers continued to attend training to keep them in compliance with certification TICLO requirements. Our City Clerk Department prepared agenda and minutes for meeting schedules for July 7th, 16th, and 21st, received 29 open records requests, responded to 32, Prepared 7 publications, had a bid opening on July 25th regarding the Bovie Rio Vista Bridge expansion. Our Planning and Zoning Department collected $101,324, issued 340 permits. Sorry. 22 registration, 13 applications, and 89 letters. Code enforcement issued out 86 notice of violations, 123 cleared cases, issued 40 citations. Our animal control received 178 calls for service, 5 impounds, and 12 citations were issued. Our recreations department had the 4th of July event, which was a huge success. Had the dance camp from July 18th through the 22nd. Movies Under the Stars concluded on July 26th, showing Bad Guys. Hosted a social media training on July 20th. Issued 880 senior meals were delivered, 48 welfare calls, and HLC meeting on July 13. Had 1 presentation, 3 approved items, and 1 item was tabled. They kept up with all social media platforms, media inquiries, and press releases. Our IT department assisted with all city council and commissions meetings and troubleshooted all IT-related issues. Our grants department's highlights was prepared quarterly federal financial reports for federally funded active grants, including the West Texas HIDA program, COPS hiring program, and COPS crisis intervention team, among others. Requested reimbursement for federally funded active grants totaling $92,899 in reimbursement, including $2,709 for the crisis intervention team for $60,190. Our COPS hiring program, and $30,000 for the Texas Preservation Trust Fund for Rio Vista project, among others. The CARES Act responded to El Paso County's request for information regarding the city's CARES Act reimbursement number 3, 4, and 5. Our nonprofit completed onboarding of our new executive director on July 25th and coordinated board of directors meeting on August 3rd. Economic Recovery coordinated small business support meeting on July 11th. At Three Missions Brewery, assisted 9 small businesses via financial assistance through the ESBRA program in July of 2022. For transportation, received $535,000 in total reimbursements from TxDOT for Arterial 1, 1682 Boulevard, invoices during the month of July 2022. This concludes the highlights for the departments for the month of July. Is there any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to consent agenda. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve? Second.
Ruben Reyes,
Yes.
Cesar Nevares,
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia,
Aye.
Rudy Cruz,
Yes.
and Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Moving on to regular agenda, public hearing and ordinances. Item number 9, first public hearing on City of Socorro's property tax rate. Public hearing is now open at 7:18 p.m.
Muted. Okay. I can read the adoption.
As there are no speakers, public hearing is now closed at 7:19 p.m. Item number 10, public hearing of an ordinance to allow the rezoning of Robert E. Nix Survey Number 303, City of Socorro, Texas, from unclassified to icy mud industrial commercial mixed-use district. Public hearing is now open at 7:19 p.m. As there are no speakers, would you like to speak, sir? Okay. As there are no speakers, public hearing is now closed at 7:20 PM. Item number 11, second reading and adoption of an ordinance to allow the rezoning of Robert E. Nix, survey number 303, City of Socorro, Texas, from unclassified to IC Mud Industrial Commercial Mixed-Use District.
Motion to approve? Second.
Mr. Gallinat is like 2 minutes away.
Okay.
He stepped out to his office.
Can you put up the presentation? Mayor and Council, good evening. Carlos Gallinat with Planning and Zoning. So this is an item that you all may remember about a month ago. We had brought you the larger parcels that are part of the Robert E. Nix subdivision. At that time, we brought you 302 and 304. And so this is 303. And if we go through the presentation, a lot of this will sound familiar. Next slide, please. So again, this is a rezoning request for the Robert E. Nix survey number 3. It's about 15 acres. It is unclassified. There's no address. It's off of I-10. The future land use map calls this as light industrial. Land use is vacant. The proposed land use is for warehousing / logistics. And then, as I mentioned, the P&Z approved the larger parcel on July 19th and City Council on July 22nd. I'm sorry, on July 21st, 2022. And Planning and Zoning is recommending approval, and so is the P&Z Commission. They voted to approve on Tuesday. Here's the location map. So again, the location map will just show a smaller parcel. You've already approved the larger parcels. Here's the zoning map. So the larger parcels have been rezoned to ICMUD. The smaller parcel is still unclassified to be rezoned to ICMUD. Here are the property pictures. Here's the aerial image. Next slide, please. Yep. And just another view of the larger aerial image. Here is the public notice as per state code. We did notify once again for this parcel property owners within 200 feet of the property, and we have received no responses. Here's the site plan once again. And so again, you're just focusing on that area in blue. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions. Again, staff is recommending approval, P&Z is recommending approval, and the request is to rezone from unclassified to ICMUD.
Do we have any questions?
Ruben Reyes.
Yes.
Cesar Nevares is absent. Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz.
Yes.
And Yvonne Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Item number 12, public hearing of an ordinance to amend Chapter 8 Businesses, Article 2, Vendors and Solicitors, Division 4, Mobile Vendors when required of the City of Socorro Municipal Code. Public hearing is now open at 7:23 PM. As there are no speakers, public hearing is now closed at 7:24 PM. Item 13, second reading and adoption of an ordinance to amend Chapter 8 Businesses, Article 2, Vendors and Solicitors, Division 4, Mobile Vendors when required of the City of Socorro Municipal Code.
Mayor and Council, once again, Carlos Gallinat with Planning and Zoning. So this is an item that you all had asked us to review back in late May, early June, and so this is the item that's in front of you. It is the amendment to essentially what we know as the Mobile Vendors Ordinance. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but I do want to point out the sort of the larger issues that we have looked at amending within the ordinance. So the next slide, please. We added a series of definitions, again, just everything from classifying merchandise to mobile businesses to mobile food vendor. And then I did want to point out that we do have now a type A mobile vendor and a type B mobile vendor. And essentially the type A is what you would consider an ice cream truck. And so whether you believe it or not, in the city of Socorro, according to the code as is currently written, ice cream trucks are not allowed within the city. This changes it. Again, you now have a classification to allow ice cream trucks to be on the public right away. And then the type B is a typical mobile vendor, which means a mobile vendor that sells goods or services from a custom constructed vehicle, cart, or other movable equipment on property outside of the public right-of-way. So again, that is what we know as a mobile vendor. And then, so we added some definitions. That's the first part. The second part, we added a permitting process. And so the section 8116 just states that you do need a permit if you want to operate a mobile vendor within the city limits of Socorro. And then section 8117 walks you through what that permit application and fee is. Again, you need to come to our P&Z office, application, show your business registration, food handlers. If it's a mobile food vendor, you need a food handler's certification from the Paso County Health District. And so that also clarifies that as part of the ordinance. The next slide shows the if you are a mobile vendor wanting to operate in someone else's property, you are required to bring proof that that individual is letting you to set up shop in that property. So that is that is section I, and again, permission when on someone else's property. The next slide, which I think is one of the items that the mayor and council had asked us to look at. And so currently, the way that the code is written, you are only allowed one mobile vending unit per tract, parcel, or platted lot. And so what we have done is to try to be a little bit more flexible, we have increased that from 1 to 3. And so the code now would read no more than 3 mobile vending units per individual tract, parcel, or platted lot shall be allowed. And then the second part, in speaking with our code enforcement team, they did want us to have a threshold in terms of the size, right? So if you are going to put vending units, it should be more than one vending unit. It should be a minimum of 5,000 square feet property. And then the second part of this says that you can, if you wanted to, have more than 3, right? So if you approve this, the code would allow 3 by right. You come in, you pay your application. The second part, what this says is that if you want more than 3, you could come to city council and petition for more. You would have to show a site plan, show the location of the mobile vending units and parking and other areas within that parcel of land. And then the final one is there's currently an outdoor seating, music, and other noise ordinance on here. We are just adding that last sentence to this section, which is outdoor seating shall not be allowed in any public right-of-way or private driveway. And so again, you have to contain everything within your parcel of land. So you have, if you wanted to set up tables and chairs, you can't do it out on the street. It has to be all within your property. And that is essentially what is in front of you, Mayor and Council. Again, this is an item that you had asked us to look at, and happy to answer any questions.
Mayor?
Ms. Villalobos?
Mr. Gallinar, thank
Yes,
you. I noticed that on the very first slide, it said at the end, hot dog stand, I believe, or hot dog cart. Does that mean that they have to sell just hot dogs, or that's what you normally call one of those individual push little carts?
Yes, ma'am. So I'll read that section to you again, and what the definition says is as an example. So it's as an example, this type of vendor would be food truck or hot dog cart. It doesn't just limit it to those 2 uses. It could be, again, what we typically would know as any sort of mobile vendor. So yes, ma'am, it's not just those 2 things.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Motion to approve?
Mayor, I have a question.
Sorry.
Mr. Cruz?
Mr. Gaynor,
Yes, sir.
on section C for the type B mobile vending, when they're wanting to vend or become a vendor on someone else's property, I feel that the city should provide a document on behalf of the city, or a template, or at least provide the template, because who's to say that I don't bring you a false document stating that I do have the permission on an empty vacant lot that is, commercial use, or it's designated as such under these guidelines here. Who's to say I don't provide a false document? And then we get in trouble with the actual owner later on once they find out that there is somebody selling on their property. At the same time, I understand that there's been hours of operation here for the food vendors to operate, but I'm going to be realistic with you. Our code enforcement officers do not operate within those hours. I've seen it time and time again. I don't believe that it's fair to the local businesses, restaurants, or vendors here within our city who pay rent, pay employees, pay utilities to operate their restaurant here, just to see a car pull up at any vacant parking lot and sell their items. There needs to be some type of scheduled code enforcement that happens within the hours that we don't normally operate, maybe weekends and maybe after hours and stuff like that, because we do see it, we pass it, and we can't, we can't turn a blind eye.
Yes, sir. So on the first part, Mr. Cruz, the way that the code is written, it says an affidavit statement, right? And so that's number one. But if you'd like, and maybe we could draft as part of the application, that is a form that it also has to be signed through affidavit. But I'm not 100% sure that it alleviates your concern that it could be a fake document or someone could forge the signature. But happy to look at the possibility of having as part of the permitting application process, right? That we kind of already have one when it comes to like zoning verification, right? It's a template. We plug in the block and lot and the address, and then we sign it and the owner signs it. So that's something that we could look at. So I think it's a great point. It's easy for us to look at in terms of the application.
Such as long as it's a formal document where we can actually prove the owner is providing the, signing off on that.
Yes, sir. And then on number two, I'm going to defer to Ms. Rodarte. I mean, I think that's a programming, scheduling, staff issue.
So we do have code enforcement that does go out there and do enforce in odd hours of the month, right? So they do sometimes schedule themselves to be out there at night and off hours, and there's multiple citations that are given out. They don't do it every weekend because people catch on, but they do do it a couple of times during the month.
Any other questions?
Motion to approve. Second.
Ruben Reyes.
Yes.
Cesar Nevares.
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz.
Yes.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council.
Thank you.
Moving on to Grants Department, item number 14, discussion and action to approve a letter of support for the El Paso Metropolitan Planning Organization, EPMPO, grant application to the Safe Streets and Roads for All, SS4A, discretionary grant program to develop a regional comprehensive action plan for the El Paso MPO planning area.
Motion to approve. Second.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Alejandra Valadez, City Development Director. We are here requesting your approval on our letter of support for the El Paso Metropolitan Planning Organization. The bipartisan infrastructure bill did establish the Safe Streets and Roads for All program. This program provides funding for regional, local, and tribal initiatives through grants to prevent road deaths and serious injury. The El Paso MPO intends to submit a grant application that will benefit the entire El Paso Metropolitan Planning Organization region, which includes Socorro. Their proposal is to develop a comprehensive safety action plan that will identify actions related to engineering, education, and enforcement. Because the application is very competitive, it's available at the national level, they are requesting letters of support from all the communities in the region in order to strengthen that effort and get those dollars here to us locally.
Do you have a question? Mr. Cruz?
I just would like to add, we heard in public comment today about the concerns, the growing pains that the city is going through, especially in our school zones. I feel that through the efforts that we are going to continue doing with the MPO. This is the only way that we're going to be able to apply for these grant dollars. As Ms. Valadez mentioned, it's very competitive. But at the same time, trust when I say that I've been in communication, constant communication with the executive director of the MPO. They requested this support letter. In return, I'm going to request that they provide funding on behalf of that support letter. So just so you know that we're not, this is not another paper that we sign off on, okay? It's you scratch my back, I scratch your back. And at the end of the day, it's going to benefit the entire community, not just a certain group of individuals, but I appreciate you all bringing this to council. Thank you.
Thank you. Ruben Reyes.
Yes.
Cesar Nevares.
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz.
Yes.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Item number 15, discussion and action to approve a letter of support for the scrap tire disposal legislation being developed by the El Paso County in consultation with the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality, the Lower Valley Water District, the City of San Elizario, and the City of Socorro.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. We are requesting your approval for this letter of support for a scrap tire disposal legislation. El Paso County, in consultation with the Texas Commission of Environmental Quality, the Lower Valley Water District, the City of San Elizario, and the City of Socorro, are currently drafting a piece of legislation to mitigate some of the public health and environmental hazards that scrap tires, illegal dumping of scrap tires has in our community. We've all driven down the road and seen the tires on the canals on the side of the road. They pose a public health hazard, especially during mosquito season, but they're also a contaminant to our waterways, and it's a nuisance to our community. The goal of this bill will be to introduce it into the 88th state legislative session and try to get more enforcement and more power for the local government and the county in terms of criminalizing the disposal of illegal tires. That scrap tire disposal bill is in line with our city's comprehensive plan and our identified priorities in our legislative agenda, and the letter is included in your backup.
Ruben Reyes.
Yes.
Cesar Nevares.
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz.
Yes.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Item number 16, discussion and action to enter into a memorandum of understanding for a sister city relationship between the City of Socorro, Texas, and the 2022 Sister Cities to enrich our understanding of our shared culture and history and ties to the historic Camino Real de Tierra Adentro.
Motion to approve. Second.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. We're requesting your approval on this MOU to enter into a sister city relationship with the 2022 sister cities, which are included in the actual MOU in your backup. There's about 10 cities. This partnership was brought to us by our Historic Landmark Commissioner, Mr. Alo Borrego, in connection to the Binational History Conference. As you know, he's involved in this sister city program as part of his participation in the Camino de Real de Tierra Adentro Historical Society, which is a nonprofit that has the goal of making more sites along the Camino Real part of the UNESCO World Heritage Site. These cities, of course, as you know, are part of the Camino de Real de Tierra Adentro. We share a very rich culture, food, traditions, and music with many cities along the Camino Real, both in the United States and Mexico. And so this partnership will allow us to establish lines of communications with these other communities and try to bring more people into Socorro to look at our beautiful city, our historical sites, and let them know that we're here.
Ruben Reyes.
Yes.
Cesar Nevares.
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz.
Yes.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Moving on to Recreation Centers Department, item number 17, discussion and action to approve the sale of alcohol and vendor fees for the binational event, that the city will host half a day on Friday, September 9th, 2022, from 6 to 10 p.m., and a Saturday from 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. at the Rio Vista Community Center.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Victor Reta, Director of Historic Preservation for the City of Socorro. I wanted to go ahead and echo what my colleague and co-director, Ms. Alejandra Valadez, was mentioning with the same event. Our goal is to create awareness, education, and promotion of our historical assets. One of the things that we are seeing is a trend in tourism is the education of alcohol, such as tequila. And we also have a really great local brewery that uses natural and local ingredients. Our goal is to create opportunity and capacity to educate the public by way of alcohol and alcohol sales to go ahead and attract more clientele to this event. We are looking at tequila sommeliers to go ahead and provide this education and provide sampling possibly to go ahead and entice more people to get to know our community, which is why we're requesting the permit of alcohol to be sold. In addition, we are looking at getting vendor fees to get approved. One of the things that we are looking at doing is an exhibitor vendor permit, meaning that artists from all over the area can go ahead and put up their art at no fee, meaning they would just be kind of showing off and showcasing their event, and then also just generally approving planning and zoning to process these permits for us. Our goal with the two-day festival is to attract arts, education, historical preservation, and things that are relevant to our community. We're also going to have speakers to go ahead and provide lectures as well as engagement for the children by way of pottery. We're hoping that the tribe can go ahead and partner with us as well to provide some pottery information because the city did just buy their own kiln, so we will be having porcelain and ceramic classes in the fall. I'm happy to answer any questions that council may have.
I have a question.
Mr. Cruz?
The financial impact of 18,500, what's the budgeted line item that's going to come out of?
So if approved, that would go to the event line item. That's within my budget. My department's the only one that currently has that GL code. This was something that was discussed previously, and that was the budget that I was given, was 18.5.
Who gave you the budget?
We met with Alborrego, as Ms. Alejandra Valadez mentioned in the previous item. That was part of the pitch for the two-day festival, was the 18.5.
And the 18.5 is going to pay for?
That'll go to supplies and services to not only attract the vendors, but also set up supplies that we need, generators for the vendors, as well as making sure that our educational lecturers have the supplies they need to host the conference.
Ruben Reyes.
Yes.
Cesar Nevares.
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz.
Yes.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Item number 18, discussion and action to approve the inaugural TEDx Socorro Leadership Event on Saturday, September 17th, 2022 at the Moonlight Adobe House with a financial impact of $6,000 to fly one speaker, event provisions, and marketing. Do we have a motion?
Motion for discussion.
Second.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I know reading the title kind of sounded like a little confusing, like I'm asking for $6,000 to fly one person in, but that's not the case. The request to allow us to purchase a ticket for a speaker would be about $500. $6,000 is the overall budget for the event. However, because I'm using sponsorships, it won't go directly to the general fund. The charges would hit my own budget first, which is why we brought the item to council. I do want to share with you some artwork for the TEDx Socorro event. The inaugural event is called Humano. We received much excitement from the community as well as a list of speakers, including a movie star from the area, Ms. Jessica Meraz. She is currently in Los Angeles on set, but is a native of El Paso County and has agreed to participate in our event. Other speakers include Annette Gutierrez, Executive Director for the Rio Grande Council of Governments, as well as some published authors to go ahead and round out our education component. And then we also have several other areas of interest, such as mental health and communication, language, and arts.
Mayor?
Ms. Villalobos?
Victor, and you know I love you to death, but can you clarify your funds? It's your department funds, correct? Not personally your funds?
Correct. No, they're not my personal funds. It would just come out of my budget. As I mentioned, because we're using sponsorships, the sponsorships go directly to the general fund, so they wouldn't get reflected on my own budget financials. So we wanted to be transparent with that. Just
Yes.
with the Independence Day Extravaganza or any other event that we do get sponsorship money for, it doesn't go directly to my budget, it just hits the general fund.
Okay, and can you tell us what the budget, the name of your budget, sir?
The name of the event would be TEDx Socorro, and we're looking at about $6,000 in sponsorships. We've already secluded some in-kind sponsorships, such as Boxed Water, which is founded by Will Smith's son. He's actually agreed to provide the water for our event, so we're really excited about that, and are working with Marathon Refinery to also secure some funds as well. And we're hoping that the city attorney will also donate to our cause as well. Shameless plug.
But, sir, what I'm asking for is the name of your department fund. Let's just put it that way.
The name of my department is the Recreation Department.
Thank you. Thank you. Just wanted to clarify that, sir.
Motion to approve. Second.
We had a motion by Mrs. Colombia Lobos to approve.
No, hers was
No.
discussion.
It was for
She
discussion.
has to, Mr. Nevares? Second. Ruben Reyes?
Yes.
Cesar Nevares?
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia?
Aye.
Rudy Cruz?
Yes.
And Ivan Colombia Lobos.
Yes.
Thank you.
Moving on to Planning and Zoning Department, item number 19, discussion and action to approve Resolution 711 approving a preliminary and final plat for Angels Park Unit 3 subdivision, being a portion of Robert E. Nix Survey 304, Socorro, Texas, El Paso County, Texas.
Motion to approve. Second.
Mayor and Council, once again, Carlos Gaynor, this is a combination plat, again, preliminary and final. We bring these to you when there are no public improvements, as is the case with this one. This is an item, essentially, they are looking to subdivide a larger portion, a larger property into this one parcel, and so you'll see it in just a second. Here are here's the information on the item. Next slide, please. So the zoning, again, I'm sorry, let me back up a little bit. It's the Angels Park combination subdivision. The summary of the request is to approve both the preliminary and final plat. Zoning is unclassified. It's about 6.5 acres in size. There's no address, but it's located on FM 1110. Future land use map calls this light industrial. Land use is vacant, and the proposed land use, we don't have one. Again, I think they're looking to parcel off this piece of property. The request, again, is to approve a preliminary plat and final plat, and there are no public improvements. Staff is recommending approval, and the Planning and Zoning Commission voted to approve on August 2nd. Next slide shows you the location. Next slide. Here's the zoning map. So again, it's unclassified. It is. There are some C2s within the surrounding parcel. Here is a picture of the property. And then the aerial map. So this is sort of. No, next one. Yep, that's perfect. Thank you. So it's this piece of land that's between the Lower Valley Water District and the Adobe Inn, Karanai Joe's. Again, it's just a subdivision plat. Here's the aerial image. Another view. Next slide, please. And here's the preliminary plat that's showing the elevations. There's no improvements. There's no buildings on the property. And then the final plat just shows it as one large 6.5 acre parcel of land. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions that you may have.
Mayor?
Ms. Villalobos?
Mr. Gallina,
Yes, ma'am.
we talked about this subdivision before, correct? A couple of meetings past? Was it?
I don't believe so, ma'am, no.
No? Okay, so Angels Park, this is in Clint, correct?
It's still within the city limits of it's right outside, it's right inside the city limits of Socorro.
It is, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that was my question.
Yes,
That
ma'am.
was why we were getting involved if it's, Clint, Texas.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Ruben Reyes?
Yes.
Cesar Nevares?
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia?
Aye.
Rudy Cruz?
Yes.
And Ivan Colombia Lobos.
Yes.
Item number 20, discussion and action to approve Resolution 712, approving a preliminary plat for Socorro Logistics Unit 2, being a portion of Tracks 8, 9, 10A, and 11C, and a portion of Tracks 10A1 and 11C1, Block 5, Socorro Grant, Socorro, Texas, El Paso County, Texas.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mayor and Council, Carlos Gaynor once again. So this item is going to look familiar to you. This is part of the Socorro Logistics Master Plan. This is the second phase, or what we're calling Unit 2. So as part of the background, the zoning is ICMUD. This particular phase includes about 60 acres of land. The address is on the corner of North Loop Road and Nuevo Hueco Tanks. Again, very familiar to, I believe, all of you. The future land use map has this as light industrial. Current land use is vacant, and the proposed land use is warehousing logistics. The request is to approve a preliminary plat, so that means that they're gonna have to come back with a final plat at some point after they've done some of the grading and some of the improvements. And then just again, a little bit of history. City Council approved the master plan on November 4th of last year. Unit 1 is currently in the process of being developed. And staff and the Plan Z are both, the staff and the P&Z Commission are both recommending approval. Here's the location. So this is phase 2. It's not necessarily directly right on the corner of Nuevo Hueco Tanks and North Loop, but it's in the vicinity. Here is the zoning district. So again, it's the ICMUD. Here's the pictures of the property. Next slide, please. Here's the aerial, just to give you an idea of the location. Another view of the aerial. Next slide, please. And then this is just the preliminary plat. This is showing the location, and so the plat itself shows 2 lots. It shows 1 street that will be dedicated to the city of Socorro, and then it shows 2 ponds to be privately maintained. So at this point, the only thing that would be, once it is approved and recorded, this plat would only be dedicating the street to the city of Socorro. Here's just another view of the, next slide, please. Just to orient you a little bit, so you'll see where Nuevo Hueco Tank Street is located. And south of this, next slide. So this shows you the master plan that you all approved. So essentially, everything to my left is what is currently being processed as Unit 1. And then the area in the black square is what is in front of you, which is phase 2. The next slide shows you the phases that were also approved by you as part of the master plan. So as you can see, phase 1 is what is currently is Unit 1. And then phase 2 includes, the one in the area in the black square. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions. Again, it's a preliminary plat. They will have to come back with the final plat, and staff and P&Z are recommending approval.
Ruben Reyes,
Yes.
Cesar Nevares,
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia,
Aye.
Rudy Cruz,
Yes.
and Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Item number 21, discussion and action to approve Resolution 713, approving a final plat for Valle Nuevo Commercial Unit 1. Final plat being a portion of Tracks 11, 11B, 12A, 12A3, 13A2, 14, and 14A, Block 5, Socorro Grant, City of Socorro, El Paso County, Texas.
Mayor and Council, once again, Carlos Gaynor, final item on our agenda. This is also a final plat, so it's a subdivision plat. This one you have seen before as a preliminary plat. Also within the Socorro Logistics Master Plan area. This is the Valle Nuevo Commercial Center Unit 1 final subdivision. As part of the background, next slide, please. So the zoning, as you all know, is, previous slide, please. Yep, no, uno más, para atrás, yeah, there we go. The zoning is ICMUD. It's about 23 and a half acres in size. The address is on the corner of North Loop and Nuevo Hueco Tanks. Light industrial is what the future land use map calls this for. Land is currently vacant, but as you've driven by there recently, there's a lot of activity, a lot of grading, a lot of infrastructure being installed within this parcel of land. The request is a final plat. The history on this is that the PNC approved the preliminary plat on September 7, 2021, and City Council on November 4th of last year as well. And staff and the PNC Commission are both recommending approval. The PNC voted to approve on August 2nd. Here's the location. So again, very familiar to, I think, most everyone. Here is the zoning. Next slide, please. So this, and on this slide, you do see the outline of the plat right there on the corner. Yep, thank you, Victor. Here's property pictures similar to the ones you saw recently. And then here's the aerial. Another view of the aerial. Next slide, please. And then the next slide shows the final plat. And so this subdivision will come in with 19 lots, 18 commercial lots plus 1 pond and several streets. And the pond will be dedicated to the city of Socorro as well as the 2 streets that are part of the subdivision plat. And again, happy to answer any question.
I have a question with the
Yes, sir.
last statement. You said the pond will be dedicated to the city of Socorro?
Yes, sir. Those are public improvements. So the pond and the streets would be essentially public improvements that will be maintained and managed by the city.
I haven't read the way it's written, but do we get every single ponding area, or is that dependent on square footage and size of the plat? The reason why I ask is because it's starting to become more and more difficult for the city to manage the ponding areas, where we've had to go out and contract companies to come in and do our ponding areas because our public works is so overwhelmed with the
Yes, sir.
city, the inner city areas, and that's why I ask.
So, Mr. Cruz, the question is, does the city have to accept the pond? So, a couple of things. One, when the subdivision plat comes in, right, they're looking to develop. The developer does have to show a pond. The water has to go somewhere, and so every new large-scale subdivision has to show where the water is going. And so, in this case, this is where they're showing it. It's a pond. The question that you're asking, of which I am not 100% sure, is if the city has to accept it. Jim, I might need some help here on this one.
Yeah, technically you don't. Typically that is negotiated on a subdivision by subdivision basis. It depends on how much infrastructure they're giving you. It depends, are they volunteering to build a street that is wider than is necessary to serve only that subdivision, but the city knows you'll need a wider street when the next 3 subdivisions come in, that sort of thing.
Thank you, Jim. So the reason why I brought it up and the reason why I wanted to ask that question and have our attorney chime in is because I would like for this council, looking forward at future development and subdivisions, let's negotiate with our developers for the first 5 years. They maintain the ponding area. That way, the city can now budget and calculate, and we can more or less adjust ourselves for the future to see exactly how much it's going to cost in manpower and resources and whatever else it's going to take to clean those ponding areas. That way we know what we're looking at and we're not just going in there blind, because a lot of times that's what happens to the city. But again, that's going to be a decision for us to make.
Yes, sir. Mr. Cruz, and again, I'm going to ask Jim here just to clarify. I understand the intent of your request, and I just want to make sure that I'm reiterating, or what Jim might reiterate, so that there's clear expectations. But I believe, Jim, that there are, if it meets the subdivision code and the state statute does not request or require what Mr. Cruz is requesting, we would have to approve it.
Yeah, let me say 2 things. Carlos is right. As long as the applicant satisfies the city's other standards, and by other, I mean it's that many standards for the public drainage, width of streets, curb and gutter, all that kind of stuff, then you are required to approve them. I would suggest what you bring up, Mr. Cruz, is something that can be negotiated, along with the size of a park, the kind of improvements that will be placed in the park. that is done in conjunction with the approval of the subdivision. My suggestion, though, is that the macro level issue that you're raising is certainly worth discussion, but it's probably safer to save that for discussion when we provide notice of that as a discrete issue, as opposed to trying to do it with respect to this one subdivision.
Yeah.
No, yeah, or amend it later on in the future is what I'm getting at. We would have to make some changes to,
Yes, sir.
to what's currently written, yeah.
Yeah. Mr. Cruz, I think it's a great point. Listen, again, I've been doing this for over 20 years. There's always the conversation that development should pay for itself. We know that it doesn't, right? At the end of the day, the taxes that are generated from the development in the long term may not cover in 10, 15, 20 years, maybe sooner, you're going to have to repave that street. You're going to have to clean the pond. You're going to have to fix the sidewalks. Anyhow, I think it's a great discussion, but as Jim mentioned, I think that for this item,
Oh, yeah.
it does meet the state code and the city's subdivision code.
Thank you.
Motion
Do
to
we-
approve?
Second.
Ruben Reyes,
Yes.
Cesar Nevares,
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia,
Aye.
Rudy Cruz,
Yes.
and Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council.
Thank you. Moving on to city manager, item number 22, discussion and action to announce the date on which city council will take final action on the tax rate and on the municipal budget.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Staff is recommending September 15th, 2022, to take action on our budget, our fiscal year budget.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Ruben Reyes,
Yes.
Cesar Nevares,
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia,
Aye.
Rudy Cruz,
Yes.
and Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Item number 23, presentation and action regarding tax rate calculations, revenues, and expenditures for the City of Socorro's proposed budget for fiscal year 2022.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Charles Casiano, the Finance Director for the city. We put into the package a couple of additional schedules. On the general fund, we didn't make any changes other than the tax rate that we talked about the last time. We are using the voter approval rate of 0.765492, and that's what we are recommending to use, in which case we do not have to hold a vote for. The only changes or additions that were added to your backup is the special revenue funds, the ARPA funds, and the capital funds were included. And all we do with those is we show what we're expecting to get in revenue, and we show that as an expense. So it's basically flow-through money for the year. In terms of the capital, what we show for the budget is just what money we have available. Hopefully, you know, we can have enough projects to use all the funds that we have, but sometimes we have money that goes to the next year. But we budget the full amount of the money that's available in case we are able to actually use all that money. Do you have any questions?
And this is what we discussed in the workshop on Saturday, July 16th. The only thing that's really changing is just we were being conservative with the 75. Now it's moving, you know, a penny more. So it gives us a little bit of more revenue.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Ruben Reyes,
Yes.
Cesar Nevares,
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia,
Aye.
Rudy Cruz,
Yes.
and Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Item number 24, discussion and action to review and approve El Paso County 911 District Fiscal Year 2023 Budget Plan.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Mr. Scott Calderwood was unable to make our meeting, but every year the 911 Dispatch Center comes out and shows us their budget in order for you all to approve it. They go to different agencies. They do help and assist our 911 dispatch center. So the budget is included in your backup. The most important thing this year is that they will be supplying all of the network for our 911 dispatch that's moving to our headquarters. Do y'all have any questions?
Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Ruben Reyes.
Yes.
Cesar Nevares.
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz.
Yes.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Item number 25, discussion and action to award Spartan Construction of Texas, Inc., the Rio Vista Drive and Bovey Bridge Replacement Projects, TxDOT CSJs 0924-06-423, etc., project number BR 2021-135, etc., in the amount of $2,717,562.15, and authorize city manager or her designee to sign contract or reject bid and go out for bid again.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The city did go out to bid on July 3rd and July 10th. We did have the bid opening on July 25th. We only received one bid, the bid evaluation for the Rio Vista and Bovey Bridge Replacement Project. Unfortunately, we only received one bid for the project. For this one bid, the overall total project bid was 27.1% over the engineer's estimate based on the bidder's unit costs. The total bid cost for base 1 and base 3, which are the TxDOT funded, was $2,050,927, which is 23% over engineer estimate. Based on the bidder units cost, the total bid cost for base bid 2 and 4, which are funded by the city of Socorro, was $666,924.84, which is 42.1 over the engineer's estimate. Based on those numbers, staff is recommending that we reject all bids and that we go out to bid again.
Motion to reject?
Second.
Ruben Reyes.
Yes.
Cesar Nevares.
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz.
Yes.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Do you have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Second. Let me have these.
Ruben Reyes.
Yes.
Cesar Nevares.
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz.
Yes.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Meeting adjourns at 8:07 PM.